Hi, welcome to English 387, our summer section that we're going to be doing together. My name is Jason Custer, and I'm excited to have you in my class. You can feel free to call me either Jason or Dr. Custer, and in this video I'm going to be giving you a rundown of everything that you should need to know on the D12 page, how things are going to work for the class, and all that good stuff. So for right now, this is me on camera, just that way you get to know at least a little bit, get a sense of who I am, at least a little. In online spaces that can be tricky, but from here I'm going to switch over to some screen recording software so that way I can show you around the class website or the class D12 page and let you see just what it is that we're going to be up to. So yeah, looking forward to working with you this semester, and let's dig in. Okay, so here is our course D2L page, as you will see here. I'll probably make an announcement sometime pretty soon after I finish recording this video, but you'll find all of the relevant things right here on this page. If you go onto Materials and then Content, what you'll find is all the materials you'll need for the class, or at least generally speaking, all of the documents that you'll ever need to access. So, first thing you'll find is our course policy sheet, which I will open up and take a look at in just a second. There is a link to our homework document, which I will show you in just a moment. Let's see. For whatever reason, it likes to make things tricky for me, so let's see. So, course policies, and let me also open this up, since it doesn't quite want to be entirely seamless for us. Let's see, and then there's also here, which we'll get to all this stuff under projects. You'll find information about assessment, you'll find each one of the different projects and their reflections. That's all stuff we'll get to a little bit later, and a handful of additional readings, which I believe I'll be working in at some point throughout the course of the semester. So nothing to worry about there just yet, but this is where you'll find all of the documentation you need is under materials and content. So in terms of the course syllabus, let's take a closer look at this right here. So again, the course is designed to fill a ton of different majors requirements for an upper level writing course. And so I try to take sort of a more generalized perspective on the topic and make it so we try to focus on genre and audience as two of our key concepts, because I think those are applicable to just about any writing context, and that it will be beneficial for you going forward and with the kinds of technical writing you'll be doing in the future. So again, my main goals here are to get you writing and communicating in technical situations, technical styles. Again, we'll be working with things, some of the basic stuff like reports, business letters, websites, memos, all the kind of basic technical writing and communication stuff you should be expected to do. And yeah, that's all the stuff that we'll be up to this semester right there. In terms of course materials, you'll see that the one thing that you really need is the 6th edition of Technical Communication Today. If you look on places like Amazon, the price for it is utterly outrageous. Do not pay that price. Again, I was able to find a rental of the PDF online that I linked to in here for $30. I think you can get it cheaper if you look around, and I don't know for sure how expensive the copy that they have on file over at the library, or I mean over at the bookstore is, but that should be a lot cheaper than what you see on things like Amazon. I also should have 2 different copies that are on reserves at the library, so really, more than anything else, do not spend a lot of money on the book. Definitely don't pay the amount that Amazon is looking for. I think that they had it at like $120 or something, just insane like that. So yeah, don't spend that kind of money. Let's see. Otherwise, again, basic information, learning online. There's going to be a lot more sort of emphasis placed on the posts that you're making and keeping up with them, so make sure you're doing that. Here you'll see the breakdown of what things will be weighted as for the semester. I try to front load things because the final projects come right at the end, and I don't want there to be too much left up in the air at that point. So yeah, grading scale you'll see right there. A statement on disabilities, accessibility resources. Make sure that you are letting me know if there's any assistance that you need, and I'm happy to help. Let's see. So And of course, making sure I take a quick moment to spotlight this. Again, if you're experiencing any issues along these lines, make sure that you're getting in touch with the folks on campus about it. If you're experiencing any sort of violence, abuse, any of that, make sure that you're reaching out to the right folks about it. A little bit of information here, but again, make sure that you're taking care of yourselves. In a similar vein, the civility clause, something I put on all of my course policy sheets. Keep in mind that we're going to be posting things and sharing things together. You'll be sharing your projects for people to give you feedback on in peer review groups. You're going to be making posts on D2L. Make sure that you're, not putting anything, pretty much my general rule of thumb is that if it seems like it's not appropriate for the class, it's probably not. And I don't want to make anybody feel unwelcome in my class, no matter what their background is. So just, again, make sure that you're keeping an eye on that. In terms of emails, I like to make sure I include this policy as well. I'm usually only really active on my email somewhere between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. So if you need to get in touch with me anytime outside of those hours, just know that it might be a little while before you hear back from me. And if you don't, just know that if you've sent me an email that you're not going to have anything else to worry about going forward from there. Don't worry about it. And I'm going to be happy to work with you from there. You never know, again, when Outlook might have destroyed the email you sent to me or it got routed wrong. We had a bunch of changes that happened to emails over the course of the spring semester, so you never know what mayhem may ensue. But if you don't hear back from me in a few days, just get in touch with me again, and that way it'll be back on my radar and I'll make sure I get back to you. So for assessments, just want to make sure that I included this information here. Generally speaking, I will be providing audio feedback for you for projects 1 through 3, and then I will be doing written feedback or very brief written feedback for projects 4 and 5. For those projects, I'm hoping to make it so that you'll be able to get at least some feedback from me, but because they're going to be happening at the very, very, very end of the summer semester, I'm going to give very brief feedback, and then from there, if you need to, or if you want to get any additional feedback, let me know, but I like to make sure I open up by mentioning that because I don't want there to be that huge drop-off from my more intensive feedback that I like to give throughout the semester and that end of the semester when I don't have a lot of time to give all the feedback I would like to. So if you want extra feedback on projects 4 and 5, get in touch with me after the end of the semester, let me know, and I'm happy to provide additional feedback. Plagiarism, simple thing there, don't do it. Doesn't take much more than that. Again, I have had issues with plagiarism cases, and I don't take kindly to them, so make sure that you're not doing that. That, and of course, if there are any other things that need to be done here, if I need to change anything on the course policy sheet, I'll make sure I let you know about it. But yeah, the only thing that won't change is anything about grading. But yeah, just want to make sure I mentioned that. And finally, personal note from me to you, basic gist of what you'll see here is that really I just want to make sure that everybody is in a good position to be successful in my class. I tend to have written policies that are a bit more intensive than they perhaps need to be, but that's sort of as a protective measure for myself. If anything comes up, though, I'm more than willing to be flexible, and sort of my own personal adage here is always, I can only make accommodations when I know they need to be made. I'm always happy to give you extra time. I'm always happy to be flexible. I just need for you to reach out to me and let me know what you need, and I am happy to provide it. If I don't hear from you, then that just tells me that there's nothing going on and that something simply didn't get done, and I don't know, there's nothing else I can do with that other than it didn't get done. So make sure that if you're having any issues throughout the course of the semester, personal or otherwise, you don't need to give me any details. Just make sure you're letting me know when you need time and accommodations of any kind, and I'm happy to provide them. And again, I hope that as the semester goes on, you're going to feel comfortable doing that and getting in touch with me if anything happens. So yeah. There's a quick overview of the course policy sheet. Going into some of the other documents we got here, we have the homework document. Inside of here, you're going to see all of the basic stuff and when it is due. Things are going to be due on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You'll see a note in here, which is that, and this will go away soon, but as of today, day 1, everything you see in here is going to be tinkered with just a little bit, just because I switched books from the last time I did my online version of this class. So I want to make sure that I change all of the chapters over. It's the same book, but a different edition of it, and the chapters are different, so don't read ahead for weeks 2 and onward quite yet, because there's a good chance that things are going to, certainly at least the numbers of these are going to change. And I probably have some other activities I'm going to work in, so I'll always make sure I let you know up to what point I have things worked out, and I'll make sure that I make as much of it available to you as possible, as early as possible, just because I like to make sure that you can work on things at your own pace, especially depending on what your personal accessibility needs might be. So, that said, the other thing I want to make sure I'm mentioning is that, as I have on here, between May 31st and June 9th, I'm going to be traveling. That means I might be a bit trickier to get a hold of during those dates, and I believe our first project is due right when I leave, so normally I would have the projects back to you a little bit quicker than when I get back. But I do want to make sure I have the time to give you some in-depth audio feedback for them, so I probably won't have them done until after that, but normally you'll get feedback from me very quickly for projects 2 and 3, but I did want to make sure that I had that note on there for every day that we have something due that I might not be around. Just know that I'm going to be looking for, that I'm going to be out of the country for a bit, and that I may be a bit harder to get a hold of during that time. So yeah, just want to make sure I opened up with that as part of the course intro as well. Let's see, so a couple of other quick things for you. And of course, apologies if I'm going on for too long. I try not to ramble too much, but you probably won't get too many more videos from me throughout the semester, so throwing it all out there right away. Let's see, so if you head into the communication section, so as you saw on the course policy sheet, the basic setup for the class is going to be a lot of, we have 5 projects we're doing over the course of the summer, and then also a lot of your course assessment is going to be based on the discussion posts you do. Now, the discussion posts you're going to find in here under Communication and Discussions, and the way that they're set up for me is a bit tricky. So, for whatever reason, D2L is not a fan of making it so that I can include just a simple due date for things that I put inside of the discussion board. And for whatever reason, what comes along with that is that in order for me to have something that shows up on your calendar that tells you that this is due, I have to make sure that I lock it, which again is really annoying. So up here at the top, you're going to notice that I have said I'm going to be reopening all the posts on July 1st, so if you get behind on something, I'm going to make sure that these all stay visible to you so you can get to them whenever you've got the time. And then from there, what I want you to do is just do them on your own, have them saved in sort of their own document, and then after July 1st, when I reopen all of the different posts that have become locked, feel free to post them in there, and I'll make sure that I give you credit for them. But I do want to make sure that inside of the calendar thing that we have, that you can see what dates things are due. So this is sort of the best middle ground I can find. I don't like that it locks. I would love for things to simply be due and for you to be able to just use them. But yeah, that's where things get confusing. I'm going to make sure that things stay visible and that the unlocking date is always as soon as I post them. And then the locking date will be the final day of the week in most cases. It'll always say things like, that this is due on a certain date. For example, and I need to update some of these things here, so this is the stuff we have going forward that I need to update, but usually they'll be at the end of the week is what they're going to say for the date that they're going to be officially due. Inside of the post, it'll say due Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, but I'll always keep them unlocked until the end of the day on Friday, so that way you've got some time to get to all of them, and if you get a little behind on one or the other, it won't be a big deal. Again, for me, the ideal version of this would simply be that they stay open, but in order for me to be able to more easily communicate when they're due through D2L, this is the best version I can do. So I know that it's a bit confusing, and if you're having problems with it, don't worry. Again, just make sure if you get behind on something that you do it on your own time, and that you do it separately, and that you save the document for it, and you'll be able to post it later and still get credit for it. So I usually make it so that people can always get full credit for anything they post throughout the semester, and I don't expect that to change. So yeah. Yeah, generally speaking, I think that's pretty much everything that we need to cover here. So yeah, I don't think I need to go through anything else that you're going to find in here. The only other thing I will mention is, and we'll get to this when the time comes, but there's going to be a peer review section on here as well, where I'm going to be asking you to do some peer review, which is going through other people's projects and giving them feedback on it. So yeah, there's going to be a handful of other things that we're going to be doing throughout the semester. I'll probably make some quick videos about those when they come up, just because they can be a bit confusing, but under this communication and discussion section here, you're going to find the regular day-to-day posts, and down at the very bottom, you'll find a different forum for peer reviews. So all of that stuff you'll find in here, and that's going to be the bulk of what we have going on for the course. So yeah, that should do it. So again, if you have any questions or concerns, please do feel free to email me and let me know. But otherwise, I'm looking forward to working with all of you, and I hope that we're about to have a good summer together. Thanks for joining me on the course, and I'm looking forward to getting to know all of you on these first few posts and help you become better writers, especially in technical writing and communication contexts. Looking forward to it.